In late 1949, the failure of the Nationalist Party was inevitable. The Communist Party had taken control over the whole country. Shortly after the PRC was established, several radical political movements took place, such as the land reform, the anti-rightist campaign, and the Cultural Revolution. Mr. Albert Ng's family escaped to Hong Kong in 1975 during the aftermath of the Cultural Revolution. His father was a Thai Chinese and his mother came from Shantou in Canton Province. Like Albert's family, a lot of immigrants choose to settle down in the Kowloon Walled City, a district isolated from the rest of the city.
In Cantonese, we would say the Kowloon Walled City is a place that we call San Bat Guan. It literally means three no control. Three means the Chinese government, the British government, and the Hong Kong government. Because geographically this place was located right in the middle of Kowloon City. But the Chinese government has rented this place to the British government. But the sovereignty of the walled city still belongs to mainland China. We have a saying, 山高皇帝遠, the mountain is high, the emperor is far away, so nobody cares about this place. So it created a space where nobody seems to have any sovereignty over this place. In the 50s, those gang members inside the Kowloon Walled City, they started doing strip dance. And there are drugs, heroin and many other different drugs. Roughly in the 60s, the things died down a little bit, but you can still see something going on. So possibly it was because of the 50s and the 60s that Kowloon Walled City got this really bad names. This is the place where you can do whatever things you want. And also as a result, there are Hollywood movies, taking one of those shots inside the Kowloon Walled City, always portray it as a place where only the gang members will go, only the protesters will go. We moved in the mid-70s and it was quite different. So by that time, the Kowloon Walled City was not as bad as before, but still there were drug gang members, there were murders, there were all the things going on, but not as bad as the 50s. If you look at a map of the mid-70s, the buildings were crammed together, but there you will still see some space in between. But towards the end of the 80s, it's almost like a big lump of concrete with only a tiny little hole right in the middle. So the buildings are literally side by side. And there was no building code, so that means you have no control over the quality. So there are several things that we have to face on a daily basis. Number one, there was no running water at home. So one of my jobs as a boy, back at that time when I was 8 years old, 10 years old, was to go downstairs with two huge buckets. So I would go downstairs, fill the two buckets with fresh water, and carry them home. I lived on the 8th floor without an elevator. My mom would do a little bit differently. So my mom would still carry the two buckets, but she would also carry a whole load of laundry with her. So she would carry the two buckets with laundry, go to the public place, wash all the laundries, and then wash her own hair, and then fill up one bucket with clean water, another bucket with clean clothes, and then go home. There was no public trash collection because the government was not responsible for that. So what we did was every day when we left home, we would take a bag with us, the garbage, we would bring it downstairs, and we just dump it somewhere. And after some time, people will know this is the place where you should dump your garbage, not next to it, but this particular area. And somehow the Hong Kong government will send people come in just to collect those trash. But there are some good things happening though. Okay, because the buildings were so close to one another, I live on the 8th floor. On the next building, right outside of my window was another building, also the 8th floor. There lived a Shanghai lady, and that Shanghai lady will make Shanghai bun. The building was so close that after she made those Shanghai bun, she can put them in a plastic bag, tie them on a stick, 晾衫竹, and then just pass it on to us. Yes, you know, something good happened out of those really, really bad things.
Although the Kowloon Walled City was a habitat for poor immigrants from China, it was not a slum. In fact, it had a very active manufacturing sector, and there were many clinics and shops inside.
There was an economy within the Kowloon Walled City, and some people will live there because of that. But of course, one of my friend, his family owned a rice shop. So a shop that sell rice, soda, and many other different things. So they own a shop right inside of the Kowloon Walled City, but they lived outside. So there are people like that too.
The Joint Declaration on the Future of Hong Kong.
In 1984, the
have
Sino-British
just
Joint
signed on
Declaration
behalf of
was
our two
signed,
governments
stipulating that the
is a
sovereignty over
landmark
Hong Kong
in the
will be
life of the
reverted back to
territory.
China in 1997. As a
As one of the
result,
co-signers
the
of
Hong
the
Kong
Joint
government
Declaration,
had to clear
are
out
you
the Kowloon Walled
disappointed
City
right now
before the
being in Hong
handover.
Kong?
In 1987, a decision was made to demolish the area and turn it into a public park.
When the government told us that they are going to move us out, I was so happy. So we moved to Wong Tai Sin, in one of those government places. There was running water. My home has a washing machine. My mom didn't need to go downstairs to do the laundry again. We even had aircon. You know, what else can I ask for? I was honestly overjoyed.
Like Albert, many residents accepted the fact that the walled city was going to be demolished, and they were happy to relocate to government-sponsored apartments. But there was also a group of people who had reasons to want to stay.
I think there are several reasons. One reason was that there are people who live there for many years. And especially for the old people, that was their community. They did not know anything outside of the Kowloon Walled City. So where do you go? The second group will be those property owners. They didn't want to go because they cannot afford doing business outside of the Walled City. The dentist and the medical doctors, they did not want to leave because you did not need a government license to practice dentistry or medicine inside the Kowloon Walled City. Most of those dentists are from mainland China. They were trained in mainland China. They were qualified in mainland China, but not in Hong Kong. So when they were in Hong Kong, they were able to practice within the Kowloon Walled City. Now you ask them to leave, what can they do?
By March 1993, the last batch of residents had moved out from the walled city. In August 1995, the Kowloon Walled City Park was completed. Today, the walled city is not forgotten. Instead, it's remembered through the unique stories of its ex-residents.